Welcome.
You are watching Line Screw 1. Well, hello tubers, hope you're doing well wherever you are in this crazy YouTube universe. For those of you who caught my video that I uploaded this morning and you guessed that I was in the Yukon or Whitehorse, I'll even say Alaska, you were correct. The video that I posted was me landing in the capital here, Whitehorse, where I grew up. And it's good to be back, and that's where this video is coming from. I am walking along the mighty Yukon River, which the territory is named after. It's a little cloudy. It's about, I don't know, 6 or 7 in the evening. Sun don't go down till late because we are in the land of the midnight sun, but no midnight sun yet. Maybe in June and July we'll have that, but the days are quite long and it's a bit windy. Hopefully the audio isn't bad, but the reason I'm cranking out this video right now is for a couple reasons. One, preview on lots of videos coming from Alaska and ghost towns here in the Yukon and things like that, so got a lot of that to look forward to. But we just had our election and Carolyn's RV life is already piping up. She thinks she knows so much about Canada. She's celebrating the Liberal victory. Well, it wasn't really a victory. I'll give you my take. I'll give you the exact numbers, exactly what happened, because it's not a real victory for the Liberals, nor is it a real big defeat for the Conservatives. But Carolyn, she seems to think she knows a little bit of everything about everything. She's the smartest person in the room. She's so full of it. What has she spent? Maybe 10 days of her life in Canada? Look, I'm a US taxpayer because of my investments. I've owned US property and I've spent years of my life, you know, 2 weeks here, 4 months here, 3 days here, over the course of my life. Years of my life in the United States, and I'm a taxpayer and I fill out US tax forms even though I get nothing from the United States. I get no benefits at all. I just pay the taxes because I have 5 to 7 different incomes, including investments. Gives me the right to say what I want to say because I've paid for that right as a taxpayer and as a person who spent years of my life. Here, it's a little less windy here behind the big tourism building. Little pro tip, guys. If you're spending any time in Whitehorse, they got parking meters everywhere downtown. The city's hungry for your cash. Come here with your out of province or your out of territory driver's license. They'll give you a permit. You can park for free at the meters. You do not have to feed the meters. You stick a pass on your dash and you're good to go. It's one of the few free perks. Why feed the meter if you don't have to? Anyway, getting back to what Carolyn's doing. She thinks that it's the greatest thing and she's so proud of Canada with the Liberal government that was elected. Well, here's the scoop, guys. I watched intently last night, texting even many friends, including American friends, many American friends that I hold dear, and they're all Republicans, of course. Look, it was a minority government. So Mark the Carney, as I call him, watch, it's gonna catch on. I'm the first one to call him Mark the Carney. I've been calling him Mark the Carney, you know, as like a huckster from a carnival, from a circus. Mark the Carney needed 172 seats. He didn't get it. Now, there's a lot of advanced polling and whatnot. I think he's gonna be at least 3 seats short. It's like a tongue twister. 3 seats short, 3 seats short. 3 seats short. So he's gonna have to work with the other parties. Canada is a multi-party system. That's an advantage, often. Not like countries where you got 2 parties, Coke and Pepsi. That's always tricky, and it divides people a lot more. People are less willing to work with people. That's why Carolyn is such an idiot, because she's one of these, you know, bipolars, you know, one way or the other. Well, the reality is we live in a world where we have to compromise to get shit done. But bottom line is, Conservative Party did quite well in terms of the popular vote. One of their best showings in decades. But Pierre Poilievre didn't even win his own seat. And the rules of Parliament say that the leader of the opposition, which he would be if he won a seat, he has to have a seat. He don't have a seat. he was defeated by an unknown, which is something, because Poilievre's riding is in an area with a lot of government workers and civil servants. So what do you expect? You know, Pierre said, hey, I'm going to axe your job. What do you think people are going to vote? What do you think? Of course they're going to vote against you. So Poilievre will have to figure out a way of navigating that, but he is pretty much done. Same with the far left vote. We have a true socialist party here in Canada, the New Democrat Party, the NDP. For you Americans who don't know, NDP stands for New Democrat Party. They are the far left socialists, democratic socialists, okay? They are done. That's good news for us conservatives. Far right socialism is done. Now, Jagmeet Singh, the leader, I like him as a person. I just hate his politics. That's the Canadian thing about many of us. We can like somebody who is of a different political persuasion on a personal level, but we absolutely hate their politics. And that's kind of how I feel about Jagmeet Singh. I could have a beer with the guy, I could have lunch with the guy, I would like the guy. Could be his neighbor. You know, if he went on holidays, I'd cut his grass. A decent human being, but absolutely hate his socialist ideas. And what do they got, 7 seats? That's it. Not like the old days when, you know, what was it, in 2011? They had over 100 seats and 30% of the popular vote. So the far left vote completely tanked. Good news for us conservatives. So that's another great idea that has actually happened. So Carolyn, she's all excited. She got a big boner over the Liberal government that is a minority. Oh, and we got the Bloc Québécois, the Separatist Party, which is like a nothing burger. For decades, they've been trying to separate. Can you imagine sending members to Ottawa to Parliament? Their sole purpose is to separate and become like this new France. Well, they lost more seats too. Now, Quebec is not going to become some sort of new France. They have talked about it for decades, and they've had, you know, plebiscites and votes on it. It ain't ever going to happen. Hey, I got a weird question. This, you know, Yukon can be weird. Why is there a pair of socks there and a pair of gloves there? Keep Yukon weird. I always find weird things in the Yukon. Why? This is like it's Portland. This is like Portland North. Anyway, so Bloc Québécois lost seats, as they should, and they're kind of center left too. So what do we got left? Oh, we got one Green Party member from Saanich Gulf Islands from Vancouver Island. One Green Party, like that's gonna really do anything. And their numbers are down too. So all the lefties from the Bloc Québécois to the New Democrats, they're sinking. They're done, bud. And now the minority Mark Carney Liberal government is forced to work with other parties to get legislation through. That's a good idea, because now they can't just do whatever they want. If we would have had a majority Liberal government, we'd have been in big trouble. At least with the minority, it's pretty easy to collapse Parliament with a non-confidence vote. If Mark Carney does something stupid, pretty easy to get the Conservative vote, maybe do a deal with the Bloc Québécois, maybe the NDP, and do a non-confidence vote on a budget bill, collapse Parliament, and have another election, and back we go to the polls. And things are moving to the right, considering the Conservative vote, the popular Conservative vote, was the highest in decades, which is a good thing. So I don't know why Carolyn's RV life is all excited about this Liberal government. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She knows nothing about how the Canadian parliamentary system works. In fact, she doesn't know about any of the parliamentary system in the Commonwealth of Nations. She doesn't have a clue, even though I believe she has a minor in political science. Or was it a major? I don't know, but one of her degrees, poli-sci, like that's a real useful degree. But she doesn't know anything. Besides, do you take political advice from a poverty-stricken homeless woman who lives in a beat-up old RV? No. But apparently she's on Threads bragging about how she's so proud of Canada. Well, life's gonna go on. Life's gonna go on here for Canada. And it's a nothing burger, minority government, who cares? Mark Carney ain't gonna be able to do much. So and then we will go back to the polls sometime between 6 months and 5 years. The mandate is 5 years maximum, but in Canadian politics, the person who controls Parliament can call an election at any time, or you can collapse it with enough votes in Parliament. So, very different system. You don't have fixed election dates. That's a good thing and a bad thing, depending on how you look at it. It's a good thing when you want to get rid of somebody. So, anyway, Carolyn's got a big boner over Canada being proud of a Liberal. She's probably going to come up here. Actually, she has hinted. I think when she does her multi-month summer mooch docking at her mom's place, she's going to probably spend some time in Eastern Canada. Probably going to try and mooch some services. But she's so pathetic. She don't have a clue. Don't have a clue, and she doesn't even take the time to learn things. But she'll scream and yell at you and tell you you're an idiot and you don't know what you're talking about. Well, I know what I'm talking about. Are you gonna trust me or her? Yeah, it's pretty self-evident. Anyway, figured I would pipe in on that, and life goes on. Anyway, you got a lot of great videos coming up from Alaska and the Yukon up here in the Great White North of Canada's Arctic, subarctic, and the land of the midnight sun. And it's great to be back home. Okay, folks, put your comments down below, and I'll talk to you soon. Over and out.
I got you.